Hello, students. Welcome to our Read Aloud. This afternoon, we will continue our learning about the Statue of Liberty. We're going to read an information book, but it's a little different. It's an information book that is written more like a story with drawn illustrations, and it's reminding me of one of our favorite other authors, Gail Gibbons, who also writes information books but draws the illustrations herself. We're going to enjoy this book in a day or two. But for today, right now, it's The Story of the Statue of Liberty by Betsy and Giulio, Maestro. Oh, and I can see the details of her torch and the spikes on the crown and the tablet. Oh, here's this end paper has a U.S. flag. I guess that's about it being a symbol of the U.S. Let's see. And here's the title page, The Story of the Statue of Liberty. Ooh, there's a big, beautiful picture. Okay, let's see. The Statue of Liberty stands on an island in New York Harbor. She is a beautiful sight to all who pass by her. Each year, millions of visitors ride the ferry out to the island. They climb to the top of the statue and enjoy the lovely view. And a ferry, this is the ferry boat at the dock. A ferry is a boat that kind of goes back and forth. It just takes you across. It doesn't just go from one place to far away. It goes back and forth. Look at that. A young French sculptor named Frederick Auguste Bartholdi visited America in 1871. When he saw Bedloe's Island in New York Harbor, he knew it was just the right place for a statue he wanted to build. Bartholdi had created many other statues and monuments, but this one was to be very special. It was to be a present from the people of France to the people of America, as a remembrance of the old friendship between the two countries. When Bartholdi got back to Paris, he made sketches and some small models. The statue would be a woman whom he would call Liberty. She would be a symbol of the freedom in the New World. She would hold a lamp in her raised hand to welcome people who came to America. She would be Liberty enlightening the world. And there he is in his artist studio, right, with lots of bright windows so he can see and do his sculpting, right? That's what kind of artist he was, a sculptor. The statue would be very large and very strong. Bartholdi wanted people to be able to climb up inside the statue and look out over the harbor from the crown and torch. Many well-known artists, engineers, and craftsmen gave him ideas about how to build the statue. First, a huge skeleton was constructed from strong steel. And this says front and side, so you can see two views of what it looked like. And there it is being built in the streets of Paris. Many people worked together in a large workshop. Some worked on Liberty's head and crown. Others worked on her right hand, which would hold the torch. In her left hand, she would hold a tablet with the date July 4th, 1776 written on it. This is when the Declaration of Independence was signed. And there on the tablet you can see the date 1776 is written in Roman numerals. That's a way of writing numbers or numerals that uses letters as symbols to stand for the different numbers. The arm holding the torch was sent to Philadelphia for America's 100th birthday celebration in 1876. Afterward, it stood in Madison Square Garden in New York City for a number of years. Okay, so that's the first and only part that was done on time and sent to America, right? in 1876. Liberty's head was shown at the World's Fair in Paris during this time. Visitors were able to climb inside and look around. In this way, money was raised to pay for the statue. So those were the two parts that were ready early, or on time, actually. Then, skin of gleaming copper was put onto the skeleton and held in place with iron straps. As the huge statue grew, all of Paris watched with great fascination. Wow, and I think we've seen photographs that the illustrator must have looked at when he made these drawings, Finally, in 1884, Liberty was completed. There was a big celebration in Paris. Many famous people came to see her. Only a few had the energy to climb all the way to the crown, 168 steps. Then began the hard work of taking Liberty apart for the long voyage across the Atlantic Ocean. Each piece was marked and packed into a crate. There were 214 crates in all. They were carried by train and then put on a ship to America. But in America, people had lost interest in the Statue of Liberty. Money had run out, and work on Bedloe's Island had stopped. The base for the statue was not finished. With the help of a large New York newspaper, the money was raised. People all over the country, including children, sent in whatever they could. By the time the ship reached New York in 1885, it was greeted with new excitement. The work on the island went on, and soon the pedestal was completed. Piece by piece, the skeleton was raised. Then the copper skin was riveted in place. Liberty was put back together like a giant puzzle. The statue had been built not once, but twice. And I always think this is such a crazy picture, how it's all kind of done except for the head, right? And there they are inside. Can you tell that's inside the face, right? There's the eyes and the nose looking out from the crown. At last, in 1886, Liberty was standing where she belonged. A wonderful celebration was held. Boats and ships filled the harbor. Speeches were read, songs were sung. Bartholdi himself unveiled Liberty's face, and she stood, gleaming in all her glory, for everyone to see. There was a great cheer from the crowd. Then President Grover Cleveland gave a speech. Over the years, immigrants have arrived to begin new lives in America. To them, the Statue of Liberty is a symbol of all their hopes and dreams. She has welcomed millions of people arriving in New York by ship. Oh, look at that. Every year on the 4th of July, the United States of America celebrates its independence. Fireworks light up the sky above New York Harbor. The Statue of Liberty is a truly unforgettable sight, a symbol of all that is America. And this has additional information about the Statue of Liberty, like dates, about when things happened. We're not going to read all those details. And then it has some fun dimensions, like fun measurements. That it says the figure is 151 feet tall. The base is 65 feet tall. The pedestal is 89 feet tall. Including the base and pedestal, the statue is 305 feet tall. Her mouth is 3 feet wide. Each eye is 2 feet 6 inches across, and her forefinger is 8 feet long. Those are fun measurements to kind of know about. And these are more interesting facts, so we won't read all of them. And I hope you enjoyed the story of the Statue of Liberty. And one thing I like to consider sometimes is to compare, just in a couple of cases, the illustration with the famous picture that's in the book. So this is a famous picture that we've seen plenty of times, right? It shows how big her hand is, that someone is inside the hand while they're making it. And you can see a picture that's like that I think the illustrator must have seen this photograph and then done this illustration to be kind of like that photograph, right? And there's another example. Just let me show you a couple more. They're very cool to notice. This is a picture in the street, a photograph showing the building of the statue, right? And there's an illustration of that here also. I think that must be kind of like this illustration, right? That shows the head and the torch on the side here, right? So the illustrator must have seen this and then used their imagination also to do that illustration. So I hope you enjoyed the story of the Statue of Liberty. Don't forget to keep washing your hands, cover your coughs and sneezes, do some reading, do some writing, help your family around the house, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.